person drinking an enormous quantity of water might have 1 in 1,000 increase in cancer by the time you're 65 years old. Okay? That doesn't sound like something you should really be worried about. That's the way toxicologists write these things. They put a huge amount of effort into this regulation, and it's not because we're worried about a 65-year-old man getting bladder cancer, you know, 1 more in 1,000, okay? The real health effects associated with trihalomethanes is the inhalation, breathing it into your lungs, okay? Have you ever heard of swimmer's asthma?
Yes.
Okay? Swimmer's asthma is just that, okay? They chlorinate swimming pools, okay? If you put fresh water out of the city of Hannibal's water into a swimming pool and your pool man chlorinated and nobody ever got in it, you would never smell the chlorine, okay? What you smell in the swimming pool is those chemical reactions that body sweat, ammonia, urine, ammonia, okay? Swimmer's asthma, swimmer's rash, those are all chloramine. And the reason that they're chloramine associated is because ammonia from sweat and urine mixes with chlorine, gets on the skin, or a swimmer spends a tremendous amount of time on the top of the water breathing it in, and that's what's causing the damage. It's not the chlorine, it's that. Now a pregnant woman, the reason that they're concerned is in the first trimester of pregnancy, this is not short-term effect. 65 years, that's long-term. 9 months, that's a pregnancy. In the first trimester, the inhalation of trihalomethane is associated with miscarriages. In the third trimester, the inhalation of trihalomethanes is low birth weight. That's a statistical fact. That's the medical studies on that. Who's my medical doctor over here? Reading over here? Oh, she's reading. Anyway, those are epidemiological studies. That is the concern. The good news is that the Hannibal water system recognized that to be in compliance with that's important, which is why they made the choice to go on chloramine. My concern is during the chlorine burnout period. Your trihalomethanes should be below the standard today. They've been today's 2 weeks on the ammonia feed. It will reduce the trihalomethanes. Here's a fact that just infuriates me. Some scientists said that trihalomethane is a danger at 80 milligrams per liter. It's regulated at 80 milligrams per liter. Does it mean you're going to die at 81? I don't know. How about at 79? Okay? 79 is a passing grade. It's only when you get to 80 that you have a problem. Switching to chloramine will drop your trihalomethane to about 60. That's a D in my book. It's not the city of Hannibal getting a D, it's the regulation getting a D. Okay? It's just, chloramination does not fix the problem. It sequesters the reactions and it masks the issue. And it's a temporary fix. Robert? Okay. Yep.
Okay. I understand that, chloramates, they don't let the cell react and reproduce. But at this particular point, don't we have to stop the organics that are already there? I mean, why can't we use something different? Like, okay, what we did when we ran out of Clorox in the burn unit, we went and got bottles of royal oregano oil to disinfect the water. So why could that not be used in this situation?
Well, yeah.
Antifungal, antiviral.
Yeah. It would. I will tell you. Not only will your water taste like pasta, but also that the cost. I mean, the volume of water that you're treating, it's a cost calculation.
But you like use it in osmosis or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Robert, we talked today, you said there's a simple, cost-effective method of fixing our problem.
Yeah, straight up. It's remove precursors, remove precursors, remove precursors. I will tell you, I met with the leadership at the utility today. I left the meeting very pleased. I felt that there was a commitment to have a migratory path toward something better. I think that they felt very committed to compliance with the regulation as much as they felt the burden of the regulation. And I think that the cost-effective approach is certainly at hand. Okay? There's going to be additional evaluation that's going to need to take place. I think that the commitment's there that it does take place. We can see a resolution to this. And unfortunately, the same beef that Aaron had with the way this was handled is the same beef we have everywhere. And I don't care whether it's MoDNR or the state of Florida or the state of California or the state of Alaska, the regulatory community is not listening. They're not providing guidance. They're not providing direction. Why should a guy like me or Aaron have to come into your community? And I'm not here to bust anybody's chops. I'm here to educate, provide information, get you to think about things differently. I don't have all the answers. I'm often wrong. I accept when I'm wrong, and I'm led to correcting, the path. And what I think is important to recognize is that while the regulatory community, it's what is the old saying, it's not easy to turn a battleship around on a dime, okay? These are very, very simple processes that are proven technologies in other communities, and they should be able to be deployed rather quickly, okay? If you look at the average age of the young sanitary engineers that are assigned to community water systems, it's the entry-level guys, it's the younger guys. Their bosses are the old bureaucratic cronies, okay? And their shelf life at those organizations, if they're any good, is not very long because they're off at a consulting firm shortly thereafter. So it's the old cronies that hang around that, you're not going to get anything past them. The disgusting thing is it shouldn't take a newborn baby today in Hannibal graduating college to make change.
Right.
Okay, they're entitled to grow up in a healthy situation. And it shouldn't take their entire generation's lifetime to make that change. But as I stand here before you tonight, I can tell you every regulation associated with drinking water in the United States of America is a generational issue. It takes an entire generation to get people to do things right. I mean, you're talking, I shared with the people I spoke with this afternoon and the utility guys, I turned on the ammonia pump at one of the largest water treatment plants in the United States for the Metropolitan Water District in 1982. I pushed start on the ammonia pump because I thought it was the best thing to do at that time. Okay? I will tell you, we were feeding it at much lower doses than are being fed by communities along the Mississippi River. And I think that that's an evolutionary process of the quality concern with the Mississippi River. All the agricultural chemicals and community water systems, or community wastewater systems that dump into the Mississippi River cause a tremendous concern to the regulatory community. And I think there's a lot of overuse of chemical because of that mindset. And I think there needs to be an evolution of that process. I will tell you, the Ohio River that flows into the Mississippi, it's pretty nasty coming out of Pennsylvania by the time it hits Cincinnati. They've been using granular activated carbon for 50 years.
Everyone here probably understands there's a chloridane issue in the Mississippi River with the fish. So how will this affect fishing on the Mississippi River?
I don't think it'll have much of an impact on it at all.
Well, you said it can kill fish and stuff.
It can.
So how does that happen?
Probably not, it suffocates them.
Oh, yeah.
It suffocates them. Pardo, you know the answer to the question?
Yeah, he suffocated my fish in a fish bowl.
Oh, okay.
I dumped the regular out and put it right back in.
What happens is,
In 10 minutes, it
yeah.
was dead. All the fish.
I'll tell you, nitrogen in drinking water has been regulated from the beginning of time. It's one of the originally regulated chemicals. It's predominantly found, you have nitrate issues on the Mississippi River, but very, very low levels. The cool thing about the Mississippi River is the secret to pollution is dilution. A lot of water flows down the Mississippi River every year, so that's why you could open up a fire hydrant and dump the city of Hannibal's water into it 24/7, the entire over-chlorinated amount forever, and 1 mile downstream you won't be able to find it. It's just, the volume is too much water. So, yeah, the fish kills I'm talking about and the issues with destruction of the environment are associated with all your storm drains. I don't know what your storm plan looks like here, but in a lot of parts of Florida, literally you see the storm drain and you see the little thing on it, don't dump here, it drains to the ocean. That's a national requirement. You guys have to put that on your storm drains here? You know, everybody in the country has to do it. It cracks me up because I can go to Iowa, it says don't dump here, it drains to the ocean. So ultimately, but technically it does. I mean, whatever you dump in Hannibal goes back, stormwater goes back to the Mississippi River, makes its way to the Gulf. So technically it does. It's a national requirement that you put that on all storm drains in the country. But good luck finding the volumes. I'm more worried about the creeks. It kills all the frogs. It'll kill all the plants. It'll be amazing. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name's Beth Hinton, and I work in the Hannibal Public School District. I'm a teacher, and so I'm always concerned about my students. And I've read information about how with chloramines in the water, it can leach lead into the water system at times. And I was just wondering, what do you know about lead levels in children drinking chlorinated water?
Ooh. Go home and Google Flint, Michigan. That's been a national news. So it's not, the Flint, Michigan situation is very different. What I would be concerned, I mean, you're asking me an off-the-cuff question. My immediate response, and please don't take this as something to be alarmed about, but take it something to follow up on. And I will tell you one of the things we saw with chloramination changes in communities like this at schools first, and then I'll tell you about the lead issues. The drinking fountains at the schools are the biggest problems. And the drinking fountains, those old drinking fountain machines that are found in schools, actually do have a lot of lead in them. And it's amazing. We've found that problem all over the country. That's school specific. So my suggestion to you would be check with administration on your drinking fountains. And the reason is the water sits in the drinking fountain, cooling coil and stuff. It sits in there all night. And then your kid comes in and he's the first one to drink in the morning. He's getting the pure stuff. Okay? It's not in the water. Okay? It's taken me almost a year to tell everybody in Flint, there's not lead in your water. The water is now increased in corrosivity based on the chemistry change that you put in it, and it is now making more corrosion, causing more scale. You've changed the dynamic of the water. And so what's happening is brass fittings have 17% lead in them. A water meter, go out and look at your water. Are your water meters in boxes at the curb or in the basements here? Yeah, it's certain, as you move north, they're in the basements. As you move south, they're boxed out front. Anyway, go look at your water meter. It's a little brass thing about this big. Has either a glass or a plastic top on top. Okay, that's brass. Okay, 17% lead in it. They're smaller now, much more streamlined, because they changed the internal mechanisms though. But when they were bigger body, those things were worth a lot of money because they were solid brass. Anyway, those chambers fill up with water just like the drinking fountain, and the lead can actually leach out of the brass and into the water, which is why the lead and copper rule nationwide is applied like this. You can't go and take a water tap, turn it on, and let it run, and then take your lead and copper sample. You have to put the bottle under it and turn it on. It's called first flush. They want to know what's been in the pipes all night long. Okay? A lot of Flint cheated.
You don't think a lot of them probably don't do it the way.
They don't do it right, and that's
They don't
what.
want it, they don't.
Yeah, it's been done properly here, and you don't have a lead and copper problem here. There are lead pipes, there are lead gaskets, there are lead, plumbing fixtures. Those are unique and should have been replaced 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. Okay, they should have gone out with lead paint. They don't even make them anymore. They should be gone, but they're not. They're all over this country. But I always like to tell people, you have to worry about the brass too. Brass ball valves, brass fittings, brass things in water heaters. There's a lot of brass still out there. and it has lead in it. So, and lead levels in children, in communities that fail their lead level tests, there is actually, that's what nailed Flint, was the hospital finally said, hey, when you change the water chemistry, we started seeing a marked increase in lead levels in the community, and look at our data, they match perfectly. And that was a bad thing for Flint.
Can I add a
I'll go there.
comment?
Yes.
I work in Quincy, and I work for a program that deals with developmental delays. And it's a birth to 3 program, and I can tell you out of, I mean, there's so many kids that have high lead levels. And they're, oh, well, it's because of where they live, or they live in an old apartment. Well, it might be, but they use chloramine in Quincy, so I'm just wondering if that's not.
It could be. It's not the only issue.
Oh, well, yes.
Yeah, I will tell you, in the Midwest, there's still a lot of lead paint out there that kids are getting into. Paint chips and window seals, it still happens. I will tell you, just as a quick side note, basically she was saying there are lead level increases in Quincy. She works in Quincy, and there's high lead levels in the children in Quincy, and they're scratching their head as to what it's about. Back to the teacher. Most dangerous place in North America to work right now is a school. Asbestos tiles, PCBs in the windows, and lead still on all the school campuses across the country. It's one of Aaron and I's biggest fights right now. Schools are a dangerous place because of the contaminants in them. I'll jump. Okay, I'm sorry. Which one? I'll go.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try
her,
it.
yeah, her. I have a question about a large filter that you could use inside the homes, say after the meter, the water meter, that would filter out these chemicals and not go into your pipe system in the house.
Okay, she asked a good question, and my answer has been evolving, and it's going to evolve a little bit more tonight. This is the first time I'm going to give the answer I'm about to give. Her question was, is there a home filter that'll take care of this problem? And the answer is yes. Your regular Brita filters, regular activated carbon does not remove chloramine. You have to use a special catalytically designed carbon. There are about 3 or 4 manufacturers. It's very expensive that will remove chloramine. It's more expensive than a regular carbon. And 90% of the manufacturers will lie to you and not provide it, but tell you that it takes out chloramine. Be very careful. You have to ask for a specific carbon in homes. We do not make recommendations ever on anyone's product, so I won't go there. Now, to follow up on why I'm against this now. This is an answer, like I said, that's evolving, and I'm struggling with it. It actually was born out of my experience in Flint, Michigan. Everyone in this room that's from Flint, you collectively own your public drinking water system. It's yours. You paid for it. You work for it. You own it. You pay into it. It belongs to the community. Okay? And the reason that I'm struggling, people are always asking us, what would you do with a home water filtration system? How do we get around this? What do we do? We can't do that, folks. And the reason we can't is drinking water systems aren't designed just for drinking water. Those are our fire protection systems. Okay? The size of the pipe in your street, it wasn't designed just to get water to your water meter. It would have been smaller. It was designed the size it's designed because it provides fire protection. Insurance companies pay corporations to come into your town every couple of years and actually rewrite your insurance rating based on your fire flows in your community. How much water's in storage. You own those big tanks. You own that big treatment plant. You own every pipe under every street in this town. And you cannot forsake it to put in a home water treatment system. Fix the water, and then you don't have to put in a home water treatment system. And that's why I struggled with that one, and that's the first time I've ever given that answer. Yes, sir. And then I'll forget.
Does reverse osmosis provide any protection against chloramine?
No.
It can. Home water treatment systems, not necessarily. And I'm not saying this to be inflammatory. This is a national answer to what your question was. Chloramine can actually destroy the elements in a reverse osmosis system. Okay? Because what they are is they're these cartridges that are wound fibers, petrochemical fibers. They're made by GE and 3M Corporation. All these, they're these fibrous materials. And the chloramine can actually get in and bind in there and actually deteriorate them. much like I didn't even go into those because I'm struggling with home water treatment system, but it can actually do the same thing like it does to the rubber over time. The chloramine will actually destroy the membrane. I'm gonna go to her first, and then I'm gonna come back over here. Yeah. Yes, ma'am, and then you're next. Yes.
So you said you met with the utility company?
Yes.
And you are familiar with their system that we have currently?
Yes.
And you've provided a
Little
small
bit,
amount, okay. And you've provided solutions based on what you've seen and what you know of our current system and the solutions that you've provided. What is the time frame? I know you've talked about generations and it takes from birth to graduating college. What is the time frame that you would foresee the solutions that you've suggested be put into place with what we currently have?
I don't have all the answers. She wants to know, based on what I know about your system, how long would it take to employ an alternative? I'll give you two answers to the same question. Answer number one, with MODI-NR, 3 to 5 years. If we all get on the phone and kick the crap out of MODI-NR on the phone in the morning, 6 months.
Why not tomorrow?
And the reason that I say that is I've seen and observed kind of what's gone on here. And even before I agreed to come out and speak with you, I had a feeling, and then when I saw that document that Aaron posted over the weekend about how MODI-NR actually gave utilities direction on how to cheat, I kind of buy into that they're kind of not sure what they're doing, and they're not really good at what they do. And so I think if the city went to MODI-NR and said, hey, we'd like to do this, after they beat the tar out of them for the last 3 to 5 years to get them to do what they're doing, they're going to go, what, you want to switch now? That jerk from California came out there and you want to switch now? Get in line, it's going to take you 5 years. Okay? Now physically, if they didn't exist, you get on the phone, you call a vendor, you say, come out, run some tests. There's 400 different kinds of carbon. They're going to have to run some tests to kind of find out what you need. Once you buy it, you own it, you ship it out, you get it. I don't know whether, there's some infrastructure replacements or repairs that need to be done to do the switch or not. Some of those types of things could be done. We could be up and running by late spring. But MODI-NR is going to have to bless it.
But it only took them, how many weeks to get the chloramine in the water? I
Um,
don't understand that.
To get the chloramine in the water, same answer. I'll give you the same answer to the same question. MODI-NR, it took them 3 to 5 years to negotiate the permit to put the chloramine in, to put the ammonia in. It took them about 5 minutes on the phone to order a 55-gallon drum pump. See what I'm saying? So what I'm saying, the same answer that in a mirror,
So do we need legal counsel?
I don't know about that. I gotta get to this lady here. She's gonna, yes, ma'am. Is it true that taking a shower without a special shower head will damage the skin eventually? Partially true. And not untrue or partially true. It's some people. If you already have skin conditions and you're susceptible to certain types of allergies and you get in a shower, it can cause skin irritation. Let me ask you this, because I'll tell you one of the biggest, I love to get in them. My wife's called them septic tanks, but how many people sit in a spa? One of those hot spas and stuff like that. If you get out of a spa with a rash, chloramine is likely to affect you because that's highly chlorinated hot water. So if that causes a problem, you're going to be susceptible. I got 4 children. One of them can't get in the spa. Okay, so the answer is it's only going to affect people that it's going to affect. And the special shower head is, I don't know, there's several manufacturers out there, they remove it with absorbic acid. They actually put I've seen them, they put like a white pellet of vitamin C in there, and when the water runs across it, what it does is the absorbic acid makes the ammonia go that way and the chlorine go that way. The chlorine off gases and the ammonia just goes down the drain.
What about low-flow shower heads that have a lot of aeration in it? Is that worse because you're breathing in more of it? Or does it?
It's no, and the only reason is because the difference between breathing in this much and this much is insignificant.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna switch over here for just a second, and then I'll come back here. Let's start down there. Yep.
With talking with the Board of Public Works and Rawls County as being one of the customers, because they get their water so far out, is the suggested situation that you mentioned about the activated charcoal a possibility for us, even with Rawls County?
Yes, and maybe. Rawls County, apparently your treatment plant treats the water for the city. Everybody in town gets it, and then you have a wholesale customer some 20 miles away, Rawls County, sort of, down here, and then they get their water. If you remove all the organics using the treatment process and you lower your chlorine, over time, any organics that have built up in that 20-mile pipeline will eventually dissipate. You can clean those out. You can clean them out a number of ways. Then it should work. And if it doesn't, if the organics are gone from the distribution system, you can do chlorine boosting, which they've already engaged in before, so they just need to go back to that.
Okay. I have two other questions. As far as like the beauty operators, I was asked this, passing out flyers. She wanted to know what the effect would be because they have chlorine or they have ammonia in tints and perms. With rinsing out with the water now, what kind of chemical reaction, if any, would there be?
None.
Zero, okay. The other last question is, what do we have to say to low DNR to get this done yesterday as far as getting the ammonia out?
The community, what does this group have to do tomorrow to MoDNR to make it move quicker? I would encourage open dialogue with the water utility locally. Tell them that you're there to support their change at MoDNR. And then tell MoDNR you expect them to be responsive because now the community and the water utility are on the same page and we think you're the problem.
So we tell our Board of Public Works or we call them?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Both.
Could our political representatives make a difference if they stood up for us?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll tell you, in Flint, I hate to use it as an example, but it's literally going on right now. It was, believe it or not, the congressman and the elected assemblymen in the state and the elected senators from the state, they were on it like crazy, and they made the difference. So the MoDNR works for your, I don't know what you call them here. Are you Assembly and Senate? What do you call a state senate? You have state senators?
State senator.
And then you have state
Representative.
House of Representatives. Okay, we call those Assembly. Okay. So you have both of those people. They will actually have on their staff somebody that's responsible for MoDNR, and they will engage right away.
Is our Board of Public Works willing to do that after the meeting with you?
I think so. I think they expressed
Is that
agree.
a yes?
Yes. Yes. I don't want to speak for anybody, but I will tell you, I think that I was very pleased with, I think, the meeting. So, yes, ma'am.
Well, I would like to bring up a subject because I was asked this, but a couple of kind of avenues on the same subject, fluoride. I was asked by somebody if we were going to discuss fluoride, and I was actually telling her that I hope so, because I think if anybody has done any research at all, and I know that lady over there with all the books, she must have really been researching, but if you do any type of researching on fluoride, it's probably even worse. It's a poison. I mean, it's got skull and crossbones on it when they get it. And if you have a spill with fluoride, you've got hazmat coming in to get it up. So, and I know that, and I'd like to know what the level of fluoride is right now too.
Okay. Fluoride.
How does it affect?
I thought I was going to dodge it. I got 35 minutes. I'll let the bioaccumulator, because she used the magic word over there, talk about that. Here is Aaron and I will tell you what Aaron and I's position is on fluoridation in public drinking water systems anywhere in the world. The public drinking water system, we've talked about it tonight, belongs to you, and once again, we struggled with this because some people like to throw the argument right back in my face. Nowhere in the United States of America should a majority of people choose to use a public drinking water system as a dispensary for any substance in order to achieve a medical result.
Yes, absolutely.
Period. You shouldn't be able, if everyone in this room voted for fluoridation and one person said, no, I don't want it, you shouldn't do it. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't do it even if you're 100% unanimous on any drug. That's not what the public drinking water system is for, period. By saying that, we really avoid the scientific argument. I will tell you this because it happens this year. The science of fluoridation of public drinking water is 50 years old, the science of it. And I will tell you the American Dental Association and all of their foot soldiers have been going around the country and the world talking about the public health benefits of fluoridation. Fluoridation in the United States, I will tell you the FDA refers to it by definition as an unregulated drug. That's fluoride, is the definition at the FDA. The FDA has nothing to do with fluoride. The EPA only regulates fluoride by definition as a contaminant and sets a maximum contaminant level for areas that have naturally occurring fluoride leaching from its soils. Okay? The NIH, the National Institutes of Health, have jurisdiction over fluoride. And they sort of put out their recommendation through their spokesperson, the CDC. After 50 years of saying, we are all wearing tinfoil hats over the issue of fluoride, which their recommended dosage was 1.6 milligrams per liter. Before it was 2. For a long time it was 2. And then they thought that scientists had said, well, in warm waters you should use a lower dose, and in cold waters you should use a higher dose, so that when it rinses across the teeth, it causes the desired effect. Okay? Fluoride only has a scientifically valid effect when it rinses across the surface of the tooth. When it gets in your stomach, it passes the blood-brain barrier, goes to your pineal gland, and turns it into a hard little rock.
There you go.
Okay? But, after 50 years of calling those that were against it crazies, whack jobs, they admitted that they were wrong about 6 months ago. And they said, well, we don't want to totally shoot ourselves in the foot, so we recommend that you cut the dose in half from 1.6 to 0.8 because it was causing medical effects that were not good. It was causing the molting of teeth, it was causing the bioaccumulation, it was causing all kinds of problems. So it was a big step in the history of the world to say, we don't want it in there. I will tell you this before I come to you, because I know you're chomping at the bit to answer that one.
Been trying for a while.
It costs you, the citizens of Hannibal, about $50,000 a year to put fluoride in your water. I can think of 10 things I would rather be doing with $50,000 than putting a drug in that literally has that effect. $49,999.99 of it went down the toilet, in the shower, and in the laundry, and got stuck in my pineal gland. Yes, sir.
I work for a major retailer here in Hannibal. Everybody probably knows who that is. Walmart. So who all here drinks bottled water?
I'm sorry.
I do now.
Gallon water.
I do now.
We can hardly keep the water on our shelves.
Is that just lately?
And bottled water isn't.
It's been
For
a long time.
Long time. Well,
It's kind of sad.
Mostly.
But I just wanted to put that out there. I mean, some people are scared to drink the water. But I remember about 7 to 5 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, there was an article in the Hannibal Courier Post that, I don't remember if it was BFSA or whatever it is, or cyanamide, actually dumped, on accident, hexavalent chromium-6 into the Mississippi. I know that's a heavy metal, correct? How long does that stay in the area?
I
And
actually,
is it in our water now?
no. No. Well, you do have a small amount of hexavalent chromium in the water in Hannibal, as does every water utility on the Mississippi River. Okay? It's not from that chemical spill. That chemical spill was probably in the Gulf of Mexico 3 weeks later. It's gone. Okay? It does not, if it did sink to the bottom of the river, and there were little areas where it could go and get in the soils and stuff like that, the naturally occurring bacteria on the floor would convert it to chrome-3 pretty quickly. Okay? And the reason for that is they would just digest it. I mean, and it'd be gone. So that's good. Why do you have the 2 to 3 parts of chrome-6 in your water here? Chrome-6 is used in every cooling tower in North America until the mid-90s. There were even states, Michigan, that had a salt specs, road salt. You know what the big thing was? They went out and they said, why all the cars in Michigan got the rusted out fenders?
Yeah.
We should put a rust inhibitor in the road salt.
Oh, no.
They put chrome-6 in road salt.
Oh, my God.
Where did that all end up?
Oh.
It's in things, it is the #1 lubricant, biocide, and fungicide used in oil and gas fracking today. Yeah, don't get me started on that. Yes.
So the cost-effective activated carbon versus chloramine, which is,
Chloramine
because
is,
I've read chloramine is the cheapest route.
it is, straight up, no question about it. Chloramine is the cheapest route to accomplish the sequestration of the chemical reactions that cause disinfection byproduct in the reservoir at the treatment plant. As soon as it enters your distribution systems in your homes, cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. I think it's 500,000 times more costly to a community in 3 years after than it is. It's cheap. It's cheap, it's easy, and it gets you into compliance. It doesn't get the job done. Remember, all it does is it takes you from 80 down to about 60. So it doesn't even get the job done, and it costs more in the long run. Now, by the exact opposite, if you make a decision as a community that you want to use granular activated carbon, it comes with a free set of steak knives. Okay? And the reason that it does is because it takes out personal care products. When I say that, I'm talking about shaving creams, shampoos, conditioners, makeup, okay? You know, all that stuff. When I say pharmaceuticals, I'm talking about everything that, coffee, caffeine, sodas, okay? Estrogen, birth control pills, okay, they're in the water. Viagra. We used to talk about hard water. Yes, ma'am.
At what cost? This is the problem.
At what cost?
Yes, when you talk to our Board of Public Works, you best be prepared to have some figures for them, because they're more interested in the cheapest way to go. They won't, they
I'm not
close
going to
their
speak out of
ears.
school because I think that it's fair to say they have the numbers. I think it was fair to say that they were intrigued by the numbers, and I left with a positive.
They won't go by the numbers.
Well,
Yeah.
They never do.
this is about you being armed with the information, and
Well,
I think I saw commitment.
I ask this because
Yeah.
I've dealt with our Board of Public Works on several occasions. We do
Mhm.
not see eye to eye on a lot of things. My son has been fighting cancer for the past 4 years. Cancer of the tongue. His doctors cannot figure out why he hasn't.
They say the only way you can get it is chewing, smoking, and drinking. I don't chew, I don't smoke, and I don't drink. So
They can't find a reason for it. Our water,
all the chemicals that's
There's
been in
been-
it for all these years, is that what's been going on?
It's tough to die.
they started testing for our stuff in 1980. They sent us a paper about it. It's HYE something, I can't pronounce it. It's been high in our water almost ever since then. I've got numerous bulletins at home where it's been way high.
That was what they were trying to comply with, that violation. Yeah.
They never made it.
No, they are delinquent still.
They're still fighting.
Yeah.
And this is
I have a
staying the
short
problem.
Short question.
Okay, you said the.
I hope my answer's short.
The amount of fluoride in the water that is mandated to be, and what it is in Hannibal. What's the difference?
I don't know, and in all fairness, I think that they might be a little high, and I think that they heard me, and I think they're gonna make a correction. So, I advise them to turn it off, but it's not their choice. It is, if they turned it off, back to that ODNR, if they turned it off, they would be in violation, in all fairness.
How long has it been too high according to the regulations?
Oh, it's never been too high, you can go up to 4.
Yeah, 4.0.
Yeah. It's, once again, the problem with the alphabet soup that is our regulatory agencies is the FDA doesn't even know the phone number for the EPA, and who knows who the CDC is. They don't know each other, they don't like each other, and they do not get along. EPA from one region to the other doesn't get along. I mean, it was hilarious. We went out on the Animas River spill in Colorado, and that had 3 regions in it, and they wouldn't even share information among each other's regions. It was pathetic. So the answer to your question is EPA recognizes it only, EPA does not recognize it as a water additive for anything other than a contaminant. EPA doesn't say add it, EPA is completely neutral. They only recognize it as a contaminant, and that's 4.0. Yes, sir.
So if they would take the fluoride out of the water and save $50,000 a year, what percentage-wise would that cut into the cost of another option?
I'm going to take a.
How much would that offset?
I'm going to take a swag.
Just ballpark.
15 to 25%.
Take the fluoride out.
Don't hold me to it, because I don't want to talk about it. Oh, my. I will not tell you, this was given to me by my hotel valet.
Nestle, I was going to ask you.
In all fairness, there's 2 kinds. I will answer the question as an alternative. It is a product made for convenience. It is no different than a beer or a soda or a juice or whatever you prefer to drink. I think that if this manufacturer wants to put this product in a bottle for me to drink, it's up to me to make that choice. Okay. Now the difference between purified water, which this product is, this is literally from a community drinking water system somewhere, I don't know where. Where is it?
California.
It has
No.
chlorine in it.
No, it does not. This purified water, they take this down to absolutely 0. When they are finished making this stuff, and as much as it costs, they take it down. There's nothing in this. It's so pure, it's dangerous. If you drank it when they were done making it, it would cause the natural minerals in your body to leach into the water and you urinate them out. It's that bad. Okay? They actually take it to 0 and then remineralize it. They actually put salts back in it so that it won't do that. So there's absolutely nothing. And when I say that about this one, I don't say that about all. If you take your little jug to the grocery store and fill it outside, those are toxic time bombs.
Really?
Unless that company maintains those actually use the same carbon that I'm trying. If you open those things up, they're just connected to the city tap water, and it just goes through a giant Brita filter. They don't know how many people used it or how many people didn't, and what happens in those instances is carbon can actually become biological. Some people actually use that as a treatment technique. You can actually seed bacteria onto carbon, and the bacteria live in those little spaces that I was telling you about on the carbon, and they actually eat contaminants. But what can happen is, if you don't know what's in the water on the carbon, if the water's got high arsenic, I mean, and when I don't mean high arsenic, if the water's got arsenic in it, or another metal in it that's causing a problem, but it's below the MCL, okay, it's safe to drink, okay? But in one of those filters in front of a grocery store, the little filter's catching 10 parts. 10 becomes 20, 20 becomes 40, 40 becomes 80, and it gets, and then the carbon's not designed for that. It's designed to take out the tastes and the odors, okay? And then what happens is the carbon goes, hey, I'm here for tastes and odors. I don't like you, arsenic. What they'll do is they won't just say, okay, I've filled the capacity and allow the arsenic to continue just to go through. What they'll do is they'll slough. And what that means is they'll go, oh, I'm tired of this chemical. And it'll dump 400 or 500 parts into the water if you happen to be the guy that goes and fills up that day. I don't like the ones in front of the grocery stores. And I don't like the local, these guys are not regulated as much as even the Hannibal drinking water system on the local level. The national brands, Dasani, Aquafina, Nestle, these are Fortune 100 companies, international. They are not going to screw up, okay? The off-label brands,
What Culligan and guys like that?
Culligan's scary.
Really?
Culligan sells distributorships. And, yeah, and what happens is some of the people that don't know what they're doing.
Oh, no.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a follower at home that has TIA. What steps can I take to help prevent some of these things that might cause her issues?
I'm sorry, what?
She has TIA, cystic fibrosis.
I don't know.
It's an upper respiratory. It affects
Yeah, I know what it is, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, should
Stay with-
I be giving her this water? Should I?
To drink?
Yes.
I don't know that it's, I'm more concerned with the upper respiratory issue.
Right.
So make sure, you know, warm baths, not showers.
Okay.
That would be the best.
So the baths aren't going to affect her as much?
Not as much.
Okay.
Not as much, but unless she has skin issues.
Well, she doesn't have any of that, but she
It's
has.
the upper respiratory. I mean, I'd check with the doctor and say, my own advice is stuff. Most doctors don't even understand.
He doesn't, because I've already talked to her pulmonologist
Yeah.
in Columbia. He doesn't seem to have any kind of symptoms whatsoever.
Yeah, cystic fibrosis, upper respiratory, I would do, you know, tepid baths. It's only the real warm baths that actually off gas, unless she has skin issues. So, yes, sir.
Are you familiar with the gravitational water?
No, we just, they just go through. Yeah. So, but like I said, the carbon won't take out the chloramine. And if they're, I will tell you, I mean, how many people have an ice machine in their refrigerator at home? How many have the water in the door? How many changed their filter in the last 6 months? Oh, good for you. I usually get a lot fewer hands. Huh?
I've got this little deal on there where the light comes on and you don't change it in 2 weeks, you don't give you no water.
Oh, okay. Most people don't change them out. Yes, ma'am.
I have like 3 questions.
Okay. She's wrote them down. Okay, I'm going to repeat
First of
them.
all, my husband got engineer's disease in June.
Okay.
And they did nothing to test the water. Is that normal, or because he was an isolated case? I called the health department, I called the CDC, I called Jefferson City.
Okay.
Um,
Here's
that
the
was
situation.
Before the heartbeat.
Sure. Contracted Legionnaire's disease, pre-chloramine. It occurred before chloramine. It's just going to occur, in my opinion, more after chloramine. Should they have tested the water? Yes, yes, and yes. However, they're not. The water utilities are actually not educated about the dangers of Legionella. Okay, and there's been a large industry argument about the issue for quite some time now. And that's why the doctor got fired in New York this week, okay? But I will tell you, the CDC and the EPA have just recently issued a report that said most cases of Legionella are from drinking fountains and shower heads. That's from the EPA and CDC. That report's on the, did you guys post that one? If not, it's on airbrand.com. The report is actually there. You can click on the link. It'll go to the report. The other thing that we found very, very interesting, and I was actually sharing this with the water utilities this afternoon, West Virginia chemical spill. Do you guys remember seeing that in the newspaper last year? Shut the whole town's water off for 3 weeks. Okay. That was about a chemical spill that came in the river. And where the water utility completely screwed up was they told the consumers to flush their systems in their houses. 15 minutes on the hot water, 5 minutes on the cold water. They destroyed the homeowners' water systems in their houses, and it took months to get the residual out of their house. Well, it was an oil, and it actually floated on the hot water heater, and every time the hot water heater went down, it was recontaminating the home. They made a total mess out of it. They wrote a report that was published September 1st, 2015, last month. I'm sharing the link with the city. It was about, don't tell them to do this. And at the end of the report, the authors of the report, the special blue ribbon panel that wrote this report, some of the smartest guys in the country, said, okay, now we've tackled the issue of what to do with a community water system that reports a chemical contaminant in the drinking water system. We need to be concerned about Legionella and E. coli. What will we do about that when we have an outbreak of that? And that report, nobody's done the report yet. They just ended the chemical one by saying Legionella. So you're going to find that water systems are going to start testing for it, but they just don't right now. That will probably not go through the regular process of regulation because, frankly, I think the CDC is about this close to declaring a national emergency. So next.
So if, since they didn't test it, they let us believe it was, well, there's no way to know now, but no one said anything about shower heads or even in our homes. So if it's still there, could it still be there from June? Could the Legionella stuff be
Yes.
growing
In your home?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So what can we do to have them test?
I would ask, I don't know how it works here, but I would check with county health and have it asked. Yes.
I call them
Yeah,
every month.
they won't.
No.
Let's talk offline and I can get you some information on where to get it. Because they've actually, here's the other thing. I love how the economy drives science. And what I mean by that is 6 months ago, a water utility Legionnaire's test or Legionella test for the bacteria, about $90. Drinking water utilities never did anything about it. The mayor of New York, 3 weeks after the outbreak in the Bronx, made a city law for New York. That's a big city, so it's like the equivalent of like 10 states. City law. Every cooling tower in the Bronx had to be registered and tested. They've registered 7,500 cooling towers in New York City in 3 weeks. So it's about 9 weeks ago they had the Bronx. So they dealt with the outbreak, they wrote the law, and today, now 9th week, they've actually got a regulation of 7,500 cooling towers registered. The cost of Legionella testing, about $35.
She told me that the state of Missouri can't even test, they don't even have an agency that can test for Legionnaires.
I believe you. Her statement was, the state of Missouri told her that they don't even have an agency that's capable of testing for it.